G'day guys, and welcome back to Take the Map. Today I've got a little bit different style video. We're going to do one that's a little bit more informative. Now there's no doubt about it, when you're trying to take the map, you got to have the right gear. And in my case, it's time for a body lift. Now, that would have been easier a few years ago, but recently, last month actually, the rules changed. Now, if you want to do a body lift, it doesn't matter if you're lifting at 10 mil, 20 mil, or in my case what I'm doing is a 50 mil body lift, which is pretty standard. You need a mod plate in Queensland. And that also now requires a lane change test. So I'm going to share with you my experience, what I'm about to go through to get a mod plate. So as you know, there are many reasons for wanting to do a body lift. But in my case, it is more to increase the amount of room I have underneath the truck, because I eventually want to carry more water tank, where like a bigger water tank where that spare tire is. So I'll move that out and have more real estate to work with under there. And I bought this long-range fuel tank second-hand, and it's slightly too big for the truck. So as you can see here, lowest point on the tank, and this is my drive shaft, and it's rubbing when I'm all loaded up and I go through a washout or something, and the rear flexes, it comes up and hits right there, and so it's causing me a bit of dramas, and I want to get that fixed before my next trip. So by lifting the body, I'll then be able to raise the tank after I lift the body. Now I'm not the one doing the body lift, but the guy who is, I want to try and help him out so he can get it done as pain-free as possible. So right now I'm going underneath the truck with this CRC penetrant spray, hitting all the body bolts, so hopefully they come undone nice and easy tomorrow. For the guy doing the body lift, here it is, the truck at its final height. What I've done to it is a 2-inch suspension lift by Old Man Emu with 400 kilo constant load springs in the back. Now the suspension lift completely legal without a mod plate, only going 2 inches. Then I've also put, just yesterday, 32-inch all-terrain tires on it. These are also completely legal without any mod plate. However, by putting on the body mounts, go on the 50 mil body lift, that has now made it required to pass the LS9 and LS10, which now requires a lane change test. So tomorrow morning she goes on the track, and hopefully we'll pass those 3 tests: the LS9, LS10, and the LT2, which is also known as the lane change test. As most of you guys know, a lane change and mod plates are not cheap, so I want to make sure I give myself every opportunity to get it right the first time. So what I've decided to do is try and reduce some of the weight that I have up high, as I'm particularly concerned about the lane change test. First, remove this fridge that I have in the back here. I believe I'll keep the drawers and keep the weight down low, and I'll also remove the awning from the top and anything else I can find that I think might reduce my chances of passing this lane change test. Okay, the day has finally come. I'm on my way down to the Mount Cotton testing facility to hopefully see if these modifications are legal and can stay. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very nervous. I just hope she passes with flying colors. So as I arrived, they asked me to get out of the vehicle and check over everything. And so they were looking at suspension lift, the body lift, the tires, Of course, checking all the roadworthy compliances first, so the tread depth, shock absorbers and everything that's up to date, not leaking, no faults that way, all the bushes were intact. It wasn't as in-depth as I thought it would be. Not like if you're going to get your car roadworthy for the first time, but they still had a thorough inspection of everything. Whilst they were doing that, I had to fill out a form that said what I was there for, why I was doing it, and I had to fill out stuff such as all the modifications that would affect the handling of the vehicle, such as putting bigger tires on it, bigger lift, suspension lift, body lift, everything that way. And then once they deemed that it was safe, the lane change test, we loaded it up with sandbags in each location of the seats. So in my case, I've got a 5-seater car. They didn't put one where the driver sits, assuming the driver was roughly 80 kilos, but they put 80 kilos worth of sand in each of the other seats, all on the floor to keep the weight low, give you the best chance. So once it was all loaded up with sandbags, the test driver jumped in wearing a helmet, and he started to warm it up. So he took it around the track a couple times to get everything all nice and warm and get familiar with the car. So he drives down a hill at 100 kilometers an hour, and then maintaining that speed, he goes down through the cones, quickly changes lanes, so it's a full wheel track width over in through those cones, and then that's a short section, and then he's got to get back in the same lane that he was just in. And the car is not allowed to touch any cones, lift any wheels, stuff like that, to determine it's safe. As he leaves that last set of cones, he maintains that 100 kilometers an hour, and he comes to a cone where he has to slam on the brakes, and the car has to stop before it reaches the next cone. I'll just quickly run through the track dimensions. So the vehicle width is actually the wheel track of your vehicle multiplied by the dimensions that are in the table. So this first section is the narrowest. It's only 15 meters long, and it's the narrowest section, but you have 30 meters to make that first lane change. That section is short, and then you only have 25 meters this time to make transition number 2 into the final cones, which are actually the furthest apart. They're 1.3 times your vehicle width. However, the lane offset stays the same, 3.5 meters. The first pass through the lane change test, he made it through the first set of cones. As soon as he swerved to change lanes, the car nailed all of the rest of the cones pretty much. This started getting me a little bit nervous, so he went around, did a few more laps, and I'll roll through that footage for you now to go have a look and see what you think. Jeez, I've never driven it that hard.
That's sensation, eh?
Wow, yeah. Like a good news, Tyler?
Legal?
It's legal. Oh, you're telling me. There it is. It successfully passed and is all certified completely legal. And what a relief. We can keep these modifications and don't have to worry about ever being pulled up for it. Now we can get out, see what places this can take us. Love it. So that leads me now to some recommendations I'd give if you are thinking about doing the same thing. I, first of all, would remove all extra weight that your car might have on it. So if it's got drawers in the back, such as mine does, get them out of there. If you're carrying extra spare tires, you have to have at least one spare tire. All the stuff that comes with the vehicle, basically, it has to be on there. So spare tire, jack, stuff like that way. But if you have like an extra spare tire, I'd remove it. Even other cars that were there on the day getting tested, they had completely removed all the roof accessories. I left most of mine on. Mine are light except for the awning, which I did remove. So stuff like that, any extra weight, I'd get rid of it, since they're putting sandbags in the car anyway. Even if the weight's down low, it's not going to help you when it comes to the brake test, and that's just, failing that is just as bad as failing the lane change test. On top of that, the tires, actually. I picked up the car with brand new tires on Thursday, and then I got it lane change tested on Friday. So it was my second time driving the car on those tires. And new tires have got a little bit of they got a brand new film on top of them. A little bit extra, not as grippy as it could be. So I wouldn't do it on brand new tires, and the test driver said the same thing to me. He said there's something about these tires, and I think it's because they're brand new, that they just feel a little bit different than other 32-inch tires that I've driven on this track. So something to keep in mind. If you're gonna get new tires, maybe drive them around for a week before you go get a lane change test done, if you can. Do it properly. You know, don't get cheap gear. Basically what it came down to. I trusted the gear that was on the truck. It's all reputable brands, reputable companies, quality gear, and it worked. It passed. So I can't say what cheap gear would do, but you know, it's a lot of money to get this lane change test and modification plate done. So if you're gonna do it, back the stuff that you put on your ute. Okay, now some common questions. What happens if you get caught in an illegally modified vehicle? Well, you'll receive a defect notice. Worst case is that the car will also be deemed dangerous. Therefore, it's banned from the road immediately. Best case scenario is that the car is just deemed unsafe and you're allowed to drive it home. However, you're given a certain time frame to fix it. To get rid of a defect notice, the car must be deemed roadworthy once again, either by the officer or an inspection station. Therefore, the modifications must be removed or pass the required tests. If I have a mod-plated vehicle that was certified before the rules changed, is my car still legal? Most likely, yes. This all depends, however, on the quality of work completed by the person who approved the modification plate. Before the rules changed, as long as the person signing off on the mod plate knew that a car of the same model and with the exact same modifications had passed the lane change test, and they also knew the design code for that modification, they could approve your modifications without lane change testing the vehicle personally. As long as they did that with correct design code, the vehicle is still legal today. However, to double check, first call the person that signed off on your modification plate, and then call the Queensland Department of Transport. Now that it's all legal, we can finally go use it again. It's had a lot of work done to it, so it's time to test it. We're gonna head out on a bit of a beach trip down to northern New South Wales. Go see what we can find in the Coffs Harbour, Southwest Rocks, Port Macquarie areas. See how many beaches we can get on, see how many dirt tracks, and see the place a little bit. Go on a bit of an adventure, 'cause that's what we love to do. Don't forget it, we are Take the Map. Hope you enjoy, guys. Loving it. Time to load this girl up.